Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rants About Tech Live. Sorry about the delay. I had a problem with the with OBS the last time with getting some windows showing, and the same thing kind of happened today. So I was dealing with the same issue, even though I thought I fixed it, but we got it fixed out, or worked out rather. Thank you guys for joining me. We have another sunny day here in Philadelphia for this Monday, January 27th. The day after the playoff game that shocked everyone in upstate New York, including me. I had my Bills jersey on. I was ready to go. I thought it was going to be a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl, but no, that didn't happen. We're all good though. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody got some sun like I do today. As you can see behind me, we got some sun today, so it's not all doom and gloom. It's still cold as crap, but we got a little bit of sun to help out. And that's always good. Let's go and see what we got in the chat today. We got Mr. Media in here, aka Aaron. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you today. Let's get the air horns going for Mr. Media. Jack Betts, how you doing? Thanks, Jack, for joining us. Appreciate you. Danielle, how you doing, Danielle? Good to see you. And we got The Rock in here. Good morning, The Rock. Nice to see you as well. And we got Mr. Mike in the building. Mr. Mashup Mike, how's it going? Good to see you. I appreciate you being here. We got a couple things we're doing today. Dr. Ling as well. I see Dr. Ling in here. Let's get it going for Dr. Ling and myself. Let's get one going for me for being here. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Let's jump right into what we got up here. We got a few things to talk about. I got a few things planned throughout the rest of the week as well. More coming. We got a big day coming up on the 30th, which is Wednesday, I think. I think Wednesday's the 30th. That's going to be a big day. You're going to want to be here on Wednesday, on the 30th for that. You're definitely going to want to be here. Let's go ahead and get the chat up here because I failed to put the chat in the box there. We got to get that corrected. Let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, there we go. Oh, good to go. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you being here. So we got a jam-packed show today. We're gonna talk about a few things. I mean, some tech stuff, e-ink stuff as well. But as always, I mean, you know, we gotta talk about the day's events. We got Happy International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So, for all the Holocaust survivors, I think this is what this is for the Holocaust survivors. And if you know of anybody who's gone through the ordeal, or you still know some Holocaust survivors that are around, this is the day to remember that ordeal, to not forget what people have gone through in the world we live in. So always good to know where we've been, to know where we're going. So always good to know. So National Chocolate Cake Day. If you like chocolate cake, this is your day. This is definitely your day on eating some chocolate cake. Now, every day is a good chocolate cake day. You can have chocolate cake every day. It just doesn't have to be today. But if you haven't had your chocolate cake this week or this month, today's to do it. Today's the time to do it. Eat that chocolate cake today. I'm not a real big chocolate cake fan. I like chocolate icing on vanilla cake. But chocolate cake itself, being chocolate, I don't know. That's a little too much. That's overkill for me. That's too much chocolate. National Geography Day. Now, I couldn't discern whether that was National... Oh, I was thinking National Geographic. No, it's National Geography Day. So if you're a geography buff, you like rocks. you like what do they call that when you like tectonic shifts. You like tectonic plate shift. You like volcanic action. You like volcanism. Oh, this is your day. This is your day. You like rocks. National Thomas Crapper Day is what we got going on as well. Can we just guess what this guy invented? Do we know what he invented? I mean, you could probably just guess by his name what this guy invented. So, shout out to you for being the guy that made the crapper. You're good to go. So let's go ahead and finish off what we have here. That's all of the national and international holidays we got today. I'd just like to call out those. Those are kind of fun. Break the ice. Good icebreakers. Ways to support the channel. Views, subscribe, like. I appreciate you guys. As a matter of fact, if you haven't liked already and you're a member, go ahead and like. Just like the video or like the live off the rip. Like we do the videos. It's good to go. Dr. Lane said toilet. You nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. What else we have here? Comment, share, participate in the lives like you guys are doing right now. I appreciate it. Memberships. If you get badges, as you can see, some people in the chat right now have badges. That's what you get when you become a member as well. Access to membership posts. That gives you a chance to put feedback in for what kind of direction we take for the channel and the lives that we do. Discord access is always fun. We're over there talking all the time about tech, e-ink, life, setups, all kinds of stuff. So join us over there. Website, t-shirts. What do we got here? Do I have that up? Oh, I kind of do. Is it? Oh, it's not the. Oh, it is the normal size. Oh, we fixed it. We fixed it. So we got a website. We got t-shirts up for sale. Good way to support the channel. We got black and white. We got the white variety right here, but we also have the black. Nibs, pins, they're also there. Check them out. What else we got here? Thank yous to all the members, to all the people who watch, subscribe, share, like, whatever you do to support the channel. I really appreciate you in any way that you do that. So thank you, and continue on doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. All right. So what else we have here? Let's go on to these stories here. Can I put a? See, I've been using. I switched over from the Manta to the Go 10.3 to do my show notes and stuff like that. I mean, for one reason only, timestamps. It's so easy to put timestamps in here. So I think I can just insert a link with a timestamp, bam, and it's done. I've already set it up, so we got a timestamp, bam, and I don't have to think about it. So we're moving on. Agentic AI is the first topic on the agenda today. I wanted to get into this because we've talked about Agentic AI here on the platform in the past. What do we got here? We talk about Agentic AI in the past here on the platform, and we talk about AI here quite a bit. I mean, AI deals with text a lot, and I mean, I'm always on AI because of what I do with my eInk devices. As soon as the eInk device exports my backup to Google Drive, which is what I have my Boox devices do, I'm immediately transcribing those into text, formatting it, and I'm trying to find more automated ways of doing that. So as soon as the upload hits, it just automatically does it. We're going to talk about a process here that may be able to do that for me. I've been writing scripts trying to get this done. The script. Yeah, I saw. Before we get too far, I wanted to bring this up. So Jay mentioned in the comments a little while back that he had a problem with the nib on the site, with his Statler. It works nicely now. So maybe it just needed to work itself into position. And that's a thing with inserting these nibs into the sheaths. Sometimes the positioning won't be correct. Exactly correct. They work on a variety of pins that I have here that I tested them on. So I'm pretty confident they work well when I send them out. But in the French case that you have a pin that it doesn't work well in, like Jay had a problem with his nib, definitely contact me. We can get the refund going if you want to do that, or we can talk about how we can customize it a little more while you have it. And in this case, Jay said it worked out and it ended up working out well. I think it just kind of worked itself into the pin a little bit better. But I'm glad to hear that. So maybe that's something I can work on before sending them out. If someone lets me know they have a Statler, maybe I can adjust the length, the width, or how much the nib is sticking out of the sheath, how much is sticking out of the back of the sheath to come in contact with the actual stylus itself. So those are all things that we can work on and tweak. Soon I'll be making something that that's designed for specific pins, so we won't have to worry about whether they fit in this particular pin or that particular pin, because there'll be different ones for different pins. And we're working our way up to that point. Started out with putting the nibs in the pins. Now we are to the point to where we can actually ship out individual nibs. Now the struggle is getting these nibs to fit in each pin that people have. So that's going to be the next hurdle. And we're finding out better ways of doing all of this all the time. So I appreciate you guys for supporting the channel in that way. If you bought a nib, I really appreciate you. I haven't had any complaints about any of the nibs other than the one that Jay had. So if anyone does have an issue, feel free to reach out, email, DM, over on Instagram, hit me up in the chat, comments. There's tons of ways to hit me up. I don't mind whichever way you decide to go with, whatever's most convenient for you. How's it going, Brian? Good to see Brian. Let's go ahead and give Brian the air horns in here. Glad you could join us. Appreciate you. Anyway, so let's get back to the Agentic AI. So we talk about Agentic AI, and I just kind of covered the reason why I talk about AI so much on the channel is because I use AI a lot. And what I'm doing with eInk devices, I don't use the AI on device. Like, I pay for AI, so I'm gonna use that. The AI on device, I'm not sure how good it is. I'm just not, especially with the debacle they had with the ByteDance model they were using for a little while. I'm not trusting anybody with it. I'll pay for the good stuff. I'll use it there, especially when it comes to translation. It works really well the way I do it. I just want it to be more automated. And that is kind of what we're talking about right here with the Agentic AI. So Agentic AI is something that if you aren't familiar with it, you're definitely going to hear a lot about this. I've said this plenty of times in the past. You're going to hear a lot about this in 2025, Agentic AI, where AI is being automated or being used to automate tasks, kind of like writing scripts, but better because it's AI, or macros because it's AI. You know what I mean? It can actually interrupt a workflow if it sees something and can like interact on the fly. Whereas if you're doing a script or you're doing a macro, these things can't be adjusted on the fly. They just run, right? These are more in that vein, but they don't just run. They're actually thinking about what's going on and thinking about the next step to take, versus just being told, do this, do that, do this, regardless of what's going on. Anyway, Agentic AI, what we got here? What is the Agentic AI offer? Goal-oriented approach. Comprehends high-level goal and AI agents defined roles. So I won't get into the real. This makes it sound super complicated here, but essentially what AI is automated tasks that you have AI do for you in a multi-step kind of way. And that's basically what it is. And this article basically talks about the trend for AI and how it's growing. One of the things that I found interesting, and one of the tidbits that I found, is that I'm sure you guys are familiar with Moore's Law. basically states that technology, CPU power will double every 18 months. I think that's been already surpassed even for CPUs. I think, we're below that 18-month threshold right now, especially at the rate Apple was pushing their M1 chips, and especially in the beginning with the M1. I said the M1, the M series chips, especially like with the M1. But anyway, the point being here is that this is going to be one of those things that's just going to be around. And I think that right now they've claimed that AI is outpacing even Moore's law. Like I said, I think CPUs are outpacing Moore's law too, but not at the rate that AI growth and progress is happening. So right now, like I said, doubling CPU power, doubling every 18 months is Moore's law. AI is doubling its growth every 6 months. So we're talking 6 times faster than Moore's law was predicted. Yeah, I think that's a very fast clip that we're moving at, especially when we start talking about something that I stumbled upon when I was listening to a YouTube video by this gentleman here. Let me see if I can find his. I'm not going to go over the video, but I did want to show the gentleman here. Maybe I don't have that still here. He has a company called Agents.ai. Here we go. So I was listening to this guy right here. He's the founder of this particular company right here, Agent.ai. And what this is a, as you can see here, professional network for AI agents. And as he says here, also the only professional network for AI agents, right? This is going to be a big thing. This is going to be a huge thing in the future. What I thought was interesting about this particular guy, and his name is Dharmesh Shah, and he's the CEO of this company right here, and he's founded some other things as well. But what he said, he said something in this talk, in one of the particular AI talks that I was listening to on YouTube. He said something I thought was very interesting. He said that AI agents will be using AI agents, and I thought that's very interesting. Like if you think of creating an AI agent that's going to do something for you, and basically what we're talking about here is like multi-step processes in the browser. So think you want to create a database of customers, and you say, hey, whatever agent you're using, search my website for all of my customers in the last 6 months, and put them in a Word or an Excel spreadsheet for me, and organize it by category, like name, like email address, physical address, those kinds of things. That's the kind of automation I'm talking about. This is like what AI agents will be able to do for you right now, actually. So if you can imagine something like that, where you would have to go and find your customers and then drag that information into an Excel spreadsheet, that can be automated for you. Now AI can just go to your website, find that relevant information, and then pull it from there and then put it in a Excel spreadsheet. Brian said, did I see news about DeepSeek? Yeah, I did. I almost brought that up here today because it's super relevant to what we're talking about, but I was going to keep it to 2 companies today. But DeepSeek is something that I'm definitely keeping my eye on. So that's basically AI agents right there. And like I said, that's going to be one of the things that is going to be big. And I just wanted to explain that before I get into the story about OpenAI, because talking about an agent and then talking about operator, if you don't know what an agent is, it's kind of backwards. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood what agents actually were and how they worked and what they actually did. But this gentleman was talking about AI agents, using AI agents. So if you can imagine, you write, or you have an agent that does exactly what I just said. It goes and gets the information from your website and populates an Excel spreadsheet with your customer data. Um, now imagine that particular agent that does that is using another agent. Now, say there's one agent that just grabs the information from the website, and then it feeds that information to the main agent. Then there's a second, a tertiary agent that just handles the actual spreadsheet, right? It handles the putting that data in the spreadsheet, formatting it in the spreadsheet, and doing whatever spreadsheet stuff you need done, right? So there's one AI controlling two other AI. One controls the AI for the website, and the same AI, main AI, is controlling the AI that's doing the stuff for the Excel spreadsheet. So there's one AI overseeing two other ones. So I thought that was an interesting idea. Chaining AI like that, chaining AI agents using other agents. You have an agent that you like that says, okay, I know what you need done. I'll go search the web for these other agents that can help get that done. Right? It's it's wild. So it reminded me of C++ programming and its its object oriented approach to coding is the first thing I thought of when I saw, or when this gentleman said agents using other agents. I thought that was it was a mind blowing moment for me. I mean, this is just microservices you're describing, right? They are, except microservices that can be done automatically, right? And like I said, it literally reminded me of object-oriented programming, C++. I did a little bit of C++ programming, and like you can call on parts of the you can call on something that you've defined earlier in the program, or that you specified, before, that's just in your program file. You can call on those things to do certain tasks, right? And that is kind of what this reminds me of, object-oriented programming. Anyway, moving on to OpenAI's operator, which brings us to OpenAI's operator here. So, operator is OpenAI's agent, essentially, their first agent. This brings up a few questions, as for me, at least, as far as how do we move forward with this when I see how people are pricing these agents, tools that are going to be super influential in the next, going forward, but really hitting hard this year. So we have an agent, basically an AI agent from OpenAI. It's called Operator. And let's go ahead and listen to what someone from OpenAI has to say about Operator real quick.
Can you tell us your name? What do you do here at OpenAI?
Yeah, sure. My name is Baishen Xu, and I'm a software engineer on the Operator product team.
Amazing. And what are you going to show us today?
Oh,
Yeah,
my bad. Let's start this over.
I want to show you a very cool feature the team built to make Operator better. What we do is we allow you to save tasks that...
Tell us your name.
My bad. The volume was a little low.
Sure.
Let's start this over a bit.
My name is Baishen Xu, and I'm a software engineer on the Operator product team.
Amazing. And what are you going to show us today?
Yeah, today I want to show you a very cool feature the team built to make Operator better. What we do is we allow you to save tasks that people often do with Operator for later use. On the top right of every conversation or every task, there's a Save Task button that you can click, and it will help you generate a task with the right title and right prompt. Like ordering a boba or getting an Uber home. And I'm going to show you how I use it to book a Friday dinner reservation. And this is the prompt that I gave to Operator, and I'm going to trigger it. Now, as instructed, Operator would ask what type of food I would like, and this time I want to have Chinese food. Try China Live if it's available. And now Operator just loads up a browser and start doing task. I'm all hands off. It will go to the opentable.com and start doing the task without me having to do anything.
Great. Have a good dinner. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So I mean, there are way better demonstrations, but that was the shortest one that I could find that kind of illustrates kind of what it actually does. So essentially, what we have here is their OpenAI's first AI agent. If you want access to this particular agent, you have to have their Pro GPT. You have to be subscribed to their GPT Pro program, and you get this. You get access to the AI operator. So that's $200 a month for that subscription. So essentially, it's behind a $200 paywall, which I did search Google's AI agents, and I don't think they've named theirs as like OpenAI has, but they do have agents that will do the same thing, but it's an AI agent kind of like workshop program, and that's behind a paywall as well. And you can't even get access to that unless you have Google Cloud services, and like they don't tell you pricing for this either. So it's just if you have Google Cloud services, you get access to that, but you have to contact someone to even find out what the pricing structure is for Google Cloud. So big paywalls behind this information, and I can just see the separation happening in this particular technology. Like I can just I don't know. I can just see the divide in the haves and the have-nots, like already. Like I know this software is coming to lower price tiers for OpenAI, and obviously Google's going to make this available to a wide range of people as well. But to what extent? You know what I mean? If they're pricing their top tier stuff at like this, what are going to be the drawbacks to having the models that aren't the top tier models? So I'm looking forward to that, and I definitely see like the line being drawn between the haves and the have-nots when it comes to AI and productivity tools and getting things done. So something I thought was super interesting, that these operators are coming out now and they're behind these huge paywalls, but they're going to be huge tools now and in the future, and I think that's the reason why this is going to be a thing, especially in the enterprise. We're going to see agents everywhere. Like customer support, I think they're going to be resigned to all agents in the future. And when I say future, I mean in the next couple of years. Anyway, moving on from that, we have Google's acquisition of HTC. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. So we have Google buying HTC, not buying HTC, but we have a story where Google is buying parts of HTC. And they've done this in the past, but let's go ahead and talk about what this particular thing right here is. I'll go ahead and put my timestamp here. So basically what we have here is Google has agreed to acquire part of HTC's extended, let's go ahead and cover this right here. Extended reality XR business for $250 million, expanding its push into virtual and augmented reality hardware following the recent launch of its Android XR platform. If you guys don't know what the Android XR platform is, it's the platform that Google's using to put into their headset. Their headsets, whether it's the goggles that they're creating or the glasses that they're going to be making. And both of these things are using Astra, I think it's called, the bit of AI software that can interpret live data from video and speakers or headphones or microphones, I'm sorry, and give you feedback real time. The deal involves transferring some of the HTC Vive engineering staff to Google and granting non-exclusive intellectual property rights. According to the Taiwanese firm, HTC will retain rights to use and develop the technology. So they essentially bought up a bunch of talent for their XR development. The transaction marks the second major deal between the companies after Google's $1.1 billion purchase of HTC's smartphone unit in 2017. So that's one of the deals I was talking about. They've had previous dealings with each other in the past. HTC had a Pixel division where they were just making Pixel stuff for Google, but they got so good at doing that, and Google was so happy with what they were producing that Google just decided to buy that whole Pixel division from HTC. I say buy the division, the talent that was working there. Google said the acquisition will accelerate Android XR platform development across headsets and glasses. Headsets being the goggles and glasses obviously being bad glasses. The move comes as tech giants race to establish dominance in XR technology, with Apple and Meta maintaining their lead in the virtual reality market. Google and HTC will explore additional collaboration opportunities, they said. So this was a particularly interesting move. Interesting, but not surprising, because Google acquires HTC technology all the time. They, like we just saw there, they have worked with HTC and like snatched talent from them in the past. But even further back than that, even further back than the 2017, 2018 Google acquisition of HTC talent for that 1.1 billion. In 2010, Google worked with HTC to bring us the Nexus 1. I'm not sure if you guys remember that phone. So Google, let's take a look at that actually. Can we see? Here we go to Nexus 1. So yeah, Google codename the HTC Passion, I think it was. Is that? Yeah, the HTC Passion. So HTC made a Nexus phone, and Nexus was Google's first phone line brand name. Yeah, very interesting collaboration between HTC and Google. Very long-standing relationship between HTC and Google. So like I said, not totally surprising, but very interesting. And I like the way they're going. I think HTC just gets good design people. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. It's definitely a big snatch for Google. That's going to accelerate their. This is coming from Mr. Mike. It's definitely going to accelerate their XR development, and they need that right now to battle what Meta's doing. Meta's out in front, and then Google, and then Apple. So that's the way I see it. All right, what else we got here? So let's go ahead and talk about pets using buttons to communicate. Do you know about this? This is my last little tech story. And this is something that's not new. This isn't new at all. But when I heard it this weekend, I guess there's been new information added to an old study. It's what's basically gone on there. Let's see here. Yeah, so this was a information added to a old study, but it came out over the weekend. Yeah, dogs using let me just show you what I'm talking about here. Dogs and cats using buttons to communicate. And let's just take a look. Let's take a look here.
Everyone's getting a little squirrely, and I've just suggested that we go for a walk.
So basically what this is, let me just explain this. So basically what it is, it's a series of buttons on the floor that you can see there. And these dogs have, there's a company that makes these buttons, and they are color coded, which is weird because I thought dogs were colorblind, but whatever, moving on. They're color coded. And even by sheer memory of where they are and what they say and what they do, each button press produces a word. And dogs and cats can string together sentences in this way using this button system. I wonder why this is the video they decided to show here. I've seen way better videos of this. Maybe we can check this out.
Outside is crazy right now. I don't know how to explain that. We're having a storm. Outside, ouch. Mom.
No, see, that looks like a cat is just walking.
No.
Yeah, no, that just looks like a cat's walking.
Yeah. Window. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, honey. It's gonna be okay.
Aww.
Outside. Noise. Later. Noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? That's just some examples. Let's look at another one. I'm not sure what I think. Okay, this looks like it's not going to be good too. I think these are the same people. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what I think about it, honestly. I'm not sure if I think dogs are smart enough to, or especially in those examples where the cats were just like walking over random buttons. I don't know if I don't know if I dig that, honestly, to be honest. That doesn't look like something. Let's just and it would be different if it were multiple people that had these videos going. But this is the New York Times, and I'm just thinking, why would the New York Times pick that particular video? That's not a very good one. That doesn't show this whole situation in a very good light. But I do appreciate the fact that people are trying to bring out communication in pets, because I think pets like do communicate something, or at the very least they understand communication with us. Else the whole domestication process wouldn't be working. Especially dogs. Like, I honestly think dogs have been domesticated like so long and have been around humans so long. They're so interdependent with humans that definitely they must understand us to a degree, our communication to some degree, because that depends on their survival, right? The Rock says, a clever Hans experiment. It's tough to take the experiment out of these types of devices, or the experimenter out of these devices. Yeah, it's hard, right? Especially when you just see cats. You gotta say, no, Mr. Mike, we can't do that. I already got one strike. I don't need two. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's hard to take these things like this from the face value, from looking at what we just saw. A cat randomly walking over something. And maybe it walked over to a particular button and didn't care about the other buttons it was walking over. And to that I say, cat, care. You're sending false positives, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. So, all right. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. When I heard the story, it sounded way more interesting than it looks. I gotta admit, it sounds way more interesting than it actually looks. I wish I had looked at the video first. I probably wouldn't have put that on my list, but we're here now. Next thing. Let's go ahead and get into. Do I have it here? I do. Let's go ahead and get into this roughness tester that I got that I haven't shown yet, but we're about to do that right now. I gotta get a transition. I need transition music. Mr. Mike says, my dogs do this with buttons, but it's only a few. That's incredible. Really? Do you think that it works? I'm interested to know. Do you think that it actually works? Well, I put the timestamp in here. Bam. Done deal. Okay. Roughness tester. So let's go ahead and bring that up. I need transition music. Excuse me. I need transition music, and I also need excuse me. I need transition music, and I also need my MacBook Pro screen to go a little more flat so I can see better. It doesn't go flat enough for me. All right, so roughness tester. Let's check it out real quick. Oh, well, let's get this out of here. Can we? Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right, so roughness tester. Put this right here, and we can get this over there. Can we line this up perfectly? We can't, but we'll try. We're trying. Okay. All right. This is the roughness tester case right here. And here we have said roughness tester. This is the actual device right here. Surface roughness tester model. Can we get down here? Let's get down here. We got 60 frames a second going. We should be able to get down here and see what's going on. Does it work? It does. There we go. We got a surface roughness tester model GSR 720. Oh, don't be trying to steal my serial number information. Try to claim my warranty. But yeah, so this is the model we got here. And I'm hardly concerned about this thing. It's never on the internet, so it doesn't matter. And this is what it looks like. We're going to go over I'm going to touch on some of the settings here. So I'm going to get nerdy in the live. I'm not going to do this in the video. So I'm going to make a video doing the calibration and all of that stuff. But I wanted to get super nerdy here on the live in case, there are nerdy people out there like me who are like, I need to know more. And I'll be like, go to the live. It's there for you. I got the timestamp right here. I don't know what time we're at, but still. Firstly, I'm going to turn this on and we're going to look at the units here. I think the units are important. All right, so the first thing we have is, can we get down even further? Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Okay, so what we have here is, I tested some paper and it came up to a roughness measurement of 0.004. That's neither here nor there. I'm just letting you know why that's there. But what we're going to talk about is these things down here. So we're going to talk about what those things are. Oh, I need lotion. Holy cow. Why my fingers look so crazy right now? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, we'll use this finger right here. So, right here. All right, so we're going to talk about that metric right there. So I'm just going to, like I said, talk about these. So there's some documentation of me doing this. This LTH right there, and you see the 0.8 times 5 millimeters. What that is length. And that's how often a sample is taken. So this is going to be like, we can set that to be a higher value, which higher value means it takes less samples. Lower values means it takes more frequent samples, if that makes sense. You would probably break it. You would probably break it. So the STD, I don't want to hear it, Mr. Mike. I don't want to hear it. That's standard, and the standard we're using is the ISO standard, and that's the International Standard Organization standard. And basically what that is it's a standard that's been agreed upon, that are the guidelines for measuring and for reporting the measurements that you take from instruments like these. So that's the most widely used standard, is the ISO standard for measuring and reporting measurements. So that's what we're going to use on this device. The RAN is the range. That's like the range of what you want to test. So say we have a valley or a peak that's this high, and we have valleys that are this low, right? We can say we don't want to test that whole range of the highest valley or highest peak to the lowest valley. We'll just shorten that range up to this. We'll just test that short range right there. It's not even gonna report the highest valley or highest peak. It's not going to report the lowest valley. It's going to just report the roughness of what's in this range right here, right? So that's what this plus or minus 40 which is nanometers. I said nanometers, micrometers. So it's plus or minus 40 micrometers is the range that this thing that I have it set to test right here. We can change that range to be other values as well, narrower and wider ranges that'll capture the whole spectrum, right? So the next thing we have here is FIL, and that is going to be what we got here. That's the filter, and the filter is like noise reduction. But there are different algorithms for noise reduction. And when I say noise reduction, I mean there's going to be some rumblings on the surface and readings that you don't want to take into account in your actual reading. When the needle is like going over a surface, there are going to be some imperfections in the surface that you don't want to take into account in your reading. And so you want the machine to kind of ignore those minor imperfections in what it's feeling. And if you know the range of those minor imperfections, you can set the filter range to filter those things out. Now, the filter range that you, or the filter of the noise that I call it noise, because it's just basically noise you want to get rid of. That's hindering the real reading you're trying to get. Now, there's a algorithm that calculates that, and there are certain standards also that go with that. We're using the RC standard, and basically this is a range of peaks and valleys in the surface, and basically reduces the noise in those peaks and valleys that you don't want to take into account in your reading. So this is it's similar to the range, but where the range you can set what range for only the values you want to capture. The filter is like saying the micro movements that are happening, we'll just automatically filter those out, because we know within this particular instrument that the numbers that we really want to capture won't be affected by those micro movements. And so you can algorithmically filter those out. All right, so let's turn this on one more time. I'm surprised we have anybody in the chat right now. I got super nerdy. I'm sorry. My bad. But I definitely want this on record doing this and showing this. All right, so this is what we have left here. And so, like I said, those are all of the measurements that I'm concerned with, and those are all the standards that I'm concerned with. Just to let everyone know that this particular machine right here measures with universal standards in mind. And the reporting that can be done through this machine is done in a way that is also standardized, that is accepted universally. So that was the point of me making that a thing there. The actual RA value right here, that's the value that is describing the 0.004 micrometers. And that RA value is the arithmetic average. And it's the most common unit for measuring roughness. So that's why I have this this value set for RA. And you can change the value that it reports for different standards. But like I said, the RA value is the most used value or standard universally. So that's what we're going to use for this. All right, so that's it. And so just to give a good look at this thing here. All right, so this is the unit, and this is the arm that measures the roughness, the surface roughness right here. And it comes with an actual like record arm that I have to put on here, which is the actual instrument that does the measuring. It also comes with a memory card that I can save data to for when I power the thing off. Data can be saved to that, and also a powering button there. So that's that. I'm going to put that on its side. And just to go over the rest of the stuff I have in here. So this is a calibration block. So I'm going to use that with the calibration tool. And that's going to be this thing right here. So I have this made up. And this does a couple things. So you see paper on here because I was testing the roughness of this paper. And it's nice and taut, which is why I have the tape here to keep it nice and, you know, I guess taut is the only word I could use to describe that. But anyway, the other side here is where the actual calibration plate goes. It sits right into this groove here, if you can see that. And so that is the actual, this is the actual plate right here that we're going to stick into that groove. And we'll see the measurement here. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. All right, so I'm not sure. You guys can, yeah, you guys can see that. That surface right there in the middle is what we're going to be running the actual stylus over to test the roughness of. And as you can see here, the roughness should be at 1.56 micrometers. That's what value we should read from this. And that's what we're going to test here. I'm going to just go ahead and put that in there. Okay. Awesomeness. That sits nicely. All right. So that's going to be where we sit the actual device on. So we'll actually put that right there. This is the actual, like a pickup. This does the reading, which is this instrument right here that we're going to attach to the actual device. Whoops. Now this, I didn't know this until recently. I don't think we can see this, but I'm going to try to get it as close as I can here. So this right here is the actual pickup, and you can see that little bit of a thing right there in the middle. That's what does the reading. And that thing right there is diamond. That's a bit of diamond right there on the end of that. I didn't know that. I was like, wow, I've never bought a diamond in my life. I buy a scientific instrument, it comes with a diamond. We iced out. We iced out, Chad. We lit. We lit. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and put this on the device. So essentially what I have to do is slide this thing. Can we see that? Nope, we can't. Can we? It's not. Why? There we go. Okay, so we have to put this in there and connect it to those prongs you can see there. Yeah, you should be able to see that right there. This end has the same kind of prongs. Why? Can we get my hand? Oh, can we stop looking at that? There we go. Bam. It didn't work. Okay, so we're going to do it like this. Okay. Maybe you can see the prongs on the inside there. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Let's get in there. Yeah, you can see those right there. All right, so that's what goes inside here. So we're going to go ahead and put those in there without touching the diamond, because that would be bad. We don't want to touch that. Although I thought I banged it on the table and broke it when I first got it. I didn't. I took the reading and it was perfect. So we're good to go. We're good to go. All right. And that's all we have here. So we'll just move this to the side now. Let's move the case to the side. And now we're left with this. Now we're left with this particular deal here. And we're going to just sit this roughness tester. And I'm going to, oh boy. No. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, let's put this back. All right, we're going to put this back there. Now, what we're going to do is sit this down here, kind of like center it on there, and sit the diamond end down really nice. I mean, it's spring loaded, but we don't want to scratch it, right? All right, so there we go. So there we got the tester there, and I'm going to turn it on. Now, the reading we should get after testing this should be 1.56 RA, because that's what the testing plate that we just saw showed, right? So let's go ahead and test this thing out. And what's going to happen is this head is going to, it's already extended out as far as it's going to go. It's going to start moving back towards the device and taking a reading. And we're going to see what the RA value in micrometers is going to be. Let's go ahead and try that. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and go to the chat real quick, because I have not looked at the chat before we do this reading. Dr. Lean says, is roughness some standard deviation of distance? No, the roughness, yeah, it is some kind of standard deviation of distance if you're talking about vertical distance, yes. The Rock says 0.004 micrometers equals 4 nanometers, which is on the bacteria scale. Does the reading bounce all over the place? Because otherwise some really aggressive smoothing is going on. No, the reading doesn't bounce all over the place. You'll see it just gives me a standard reading. I can look at the telemetry if I have this connected to a computer, which I'm definitely going to do. This is just I just want people to see that this machine can take a calibrated reading that's correct. Then we can talk about what the readings on other surfaces mean. So that's kind of what I'm headed towards right here. Dr. Ling says, this reminds me of Adam Savage's tested video where he has a device that measures smoothness. Yeah, same thing. Mr. Mike says, will roughness alone tell us anything practical? Yes. Roughness will tell us a couple. Well, practical for me, yes, because now we not we don't have to, and we have the ability after we know the roughness to say, hey, compared to the roughness of paper that this machine takes, what's the roughness of, say, the Note Max? What's the roughness of, say, the Manta, the Nomad, the 10.3? So we can say what the roughness is like compared to those surfaces, compared to a piece of paper. Now, also that allows us to compare them to each other. Also, that allows us to compare the roughness and feel to different things that are similar. That you can say, okay, well, I know that the roughness of this is this, and if the roughness of the 10.3 is that, this should feel similar. That kind of thing. So it allows us to talk about things in more certain ways. But the big thing for me is just getting a value for all of the screen surfaces that we're writing on to say, hey, if you're interested in the surface that's most like paper, this is the device. Next on that list is this device. That's the kind of thing I want to gather. Jay says roughness directly relates to writing feel. Yes, it does. Mr. Mike says, Jay, yes, it is, but what number is the best writing feel? There are different types of roughnesses. I don't see this serving any practical purpose. There are so many other factors. Right. This is the only factor that matters when it comes to surface roughness, though, or surface feel when writing. The surface roughness test tells you if it's on par with paper or not. That's the value for me. And for a lot of people, seemingly because everyone's like, does it feel like paper? We're trying to get a paper-like feel. So companies are marketing devices on the feel. So I think it's supremely important to know if it's true or not and how true it is. We'll be able to know the difference between, etched glass and feel right, what the roughness is compared to paper. So let's go ahead and do this particular test here. And like I said, this test is just telling us, is this device calibrated to read correct and accurate surface roughnesses? And that's what we're about to see here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it now. The reading should be 1.56 if it's reading correctly. All right, so that's what we have on the screen here. We got 1.566 micrometers. And as far as the reading goes, like I'll show the actual, let me pick this up here again. So we got 1.566, and again, like I showed on here, the actual plate we can see is a 1.5. Well, let's pull it off here. And we can see the actual plate is 1.56 micrometers. So it can capture a correct reading in a universal standard, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this glass off of here. I'm going to put it back in its case here so nothing happens to it. I don't want to break this. So we'll put this back. Okay. Now that we've done that, I'm going to flip this over now, and we're going to put this on here. So what we're going to do is put this on here, center it like we had it on the glass. Perfect. And now what we're going to do, this piece of paper right here is a standard piece of notebook paper. If you were to go and buy a Mead notebook today, this is the kind of paper you would get with that Mead notebook. And Mead is the most used paper provider for notebooks and students in the world. So that's why I'm using that, because it's the most widely available and it's what most people use when they go buy notebooks. I mean, who doesn't know Mead? let's see here. Let's go to the chat real quick before we do the actual testing on this paper. Duroc says, this will give a good base reading for surface texture, but writing field will be a bit more ambiguous. It will depend on the distance between peak, valley, impact, nib, R, and mod for friction. Right, it would depend on a lot of functions, but if you think about it in its simplest forms, if you're just saying, hey, how closely does this surface match the writing field of paper? We're not talking about what you're writing on the paper with. You could be writing on it with a pen, an actual stylus, a pencil, a marker, chalk. That's irrelevant what you're writing on it with. What I'm talking about is saying, hey, this is the roughness of paper. Hey, this is the roughness of this device. Is it similar? Yes, no. Well, if that information is relevant to you, then that's interesting. Some people that's not relevant to. To me, it's super relevant. And like I said, it's super relevant to these companies who are marketing their devices, and all of them market these devices on the fact that they feel like paper. They have a paper-like feel. They don't say this has a chalk on paper-like feel. They don't say, well, some of them specify. I think Remarkable may specify pencil on paper. But I'm not sure if Ratta specifies pen on paper. But the point of the matter is, in the marketing, they're specifying paper-like feel. You know what I mean? And that, to me, if a company has made it their purpose to market on that alone, not alone, but make a big marketing push on that fact, and they all do, then it's something that we should know. Well, how paper-like is it? I don't know. Does anybody know? No, no one knows. We only know the information that they put out. This tells you exactly how paper-like it is when it comes to roughness. And that friction is the only thing we're concerned about. The companies who are putting, yeah, I think the question we want to know is, roughness is a proxy for friction coefficient. No, not really. Roughness isn't a proxy for friction coefficient that I know of. But it's a definitely an interesting question that I could definitely do some research on and find out. Let me write that down real quick. But yeah, these are all things that we should. This is a good conversation, because these are all things and questions that need to be asked. And until we ask these questions and have these conversations, we don't know the answer. And I'm not I don't know everything. I'm just a guy who said, hey, there are instruments to calculate these things. We don't have to be ambiguous about this. If someone says they're going to do testing, my argument is, well, test. Don't do an ambiguous reading. And this is a test. This is experiments. This is data collection. So that's the only point I'm making here. That's the only point I'm trying to get across, is that we're gauging the roughness right now. We're saying, hey, it feels like this, it feels like that, but there are more concrete ways of doing it, I think. Britt says, I just dropped in here and I feel like I dropped into a calculus class. Well, it can get complicated. It shouldn't be this complicated, to be honest with you, Britt, but welcome. So like I said, everyone, if this doesn't concern you, that's fine. Not everyone's going to care about this, right? And I don't expect everyone to care. I care. And because I care, I know that other people care as well. You're never alone in your thoughts. Let me tell you, right? I don't care how weird and crazy your thoughts are. You're never alone in thinking the way you're thinking. Someone else also feels that way. So I'm confident in the fact that I absolutely know there are other people who care about this, because by default, I care. And so other people do. But what it means, though, no problem, Britt. What it means, though, is that we have concrete data that we can now do something with and have these kind of conversations. Like the friction coefficient, I don't know what that is. But you know what? I'm about to research it. So the next time we have a live and a conversation, I will know what it is. And then I will be able to put it into context and how it fits into the conversation we're having now about this particular device. So that's just something that I'm all about. I'm all about learning. I'm all about admitting when I'm wrong and learning and trying to understand. This is all about understanding. Anyway, let's go to let's finish this. Before we do this, I want to finish the chat up before we get to this test because it's a lot of chats been going on. Writing field by nature is subjective and has too many variables to measure. No. If that were true, Supernote wouldn't have put out their writing surface field measurements. They have telemetry that they put on their website for writing field and how close they feel like their surface comes to writing. Like I said, these companies care about this. I know what they do. They put money into marketing and doing research like what I'm doing right now to show you how paper-like it is. So they're doing roughness testing when they do that. You know what I mean? They might be using a different instrument, but they're both capturing the same standard of data as I just showed you guys in the beginning of this talk. This thing captures standardized data, and they're capturing the same standardized data, even though they may be using a different machine. They're definitely doing research though, because they're displaying it on their sites. This will give a good base reading for surface texture, but writing field will be a bit more ambiguous. Yep. But now we can start making statements like, for writing field like blam, we expect a roughness value around. Exactly, Jay. That's the point. Got to start somewhere though. This, along with many other factors, can start to hone in on what makes writing feel right. And until we get these readings right, I may be wrong in this, right? Honestly, I may be wrong in thinking that roughness surface testing is going to tell me what the writing field is like. I could be wrong, but I also could be right. And if I am wrong, then that just continues the journey, right? The journey just continues, and you got to be willing to be wrong. That's people admitting that they were wrong was the start of the scientific revolution. There was a time when people were scared to admit they were wrong, or just weren't willing to admit they were wrong. And what that did was hinder progress. I am not that. I'm okay with being wrong, because now I can move on to something else that may be right. And if that's not right, maybe I can move on to something else that's right. Being okay with being wrong is science, and I'm 100% okay with that. I gotta get through this chat quicker. I'm terrible at this right now. This is Mr. Mike says, I would go so far as to say it's irrelevant. When you get data on something, it's never irrelevant. It can be irrelevant to a certain subset of people, but data on something is never irrelevant. I don't care what data you got. This is an interesting question. Can you calculate coefficient friction? I don't know. We're going to get to that. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm going to do my research on. I thought it was friction coefficient. Is it coefficient of friction? And maybe this machine can tell us the coefficient of friction. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm really just diving into it. So we're gonna figure that out. Except for extreme differences, Mr. Mike says, like the Tab Ultra Pro will obviously be less rough than most other devices. Absolutely. That's going to be bared out in the data. I was thinking about that. I have the Tab Mini C right here that I'm going to test, and my assumption is this is obviously going to be way smoother than something like the Gold 10.3, right? But we'll know exactly how much smoother. We can put percentages to it. That's going to be the value. I think the question we want to know is if the roughness is proxy. Okay, I think we got there. For sure, definitely relevant to define the surface texture, says The Rock, of a surface. But answering the question in paper like field will depend on whole system. Otherwise, changing out a nib wouldn't matter. Right. Exactly. It's going to be a whole lot of factors, but just talking about the surface itself is what I want to just nail down first. I don't want to make it too complicated right off the top. Let's start with the surface, then other variables. Always enjoy your content. The difference between screwing around and science is writing it down. Bam. Yeah. Word. I agree with that, Dr. Lang. For real. Shout out Adam Savage of Mythbusters, no doubt. The Rock says, being wrong also provide value info. Yes, it can provide the next test. Absolutely. I'm perfectly fine being wrong if it helps whatever comes next. There you go. That's my approach. Friction coefficient is equal to the efficient of friction. Well, I'm going to do my research. That's still Spanish to me because I don't know Spanish, but I'm definitely going to do my research today because that's something that hasn't been brought up to me before. And like I said, for all I know, this device can test it. But let's go ahead and see what the test is, the roughness of this paper is, and then we can talk about that. So let's go ahead and turn this on again. All right. So it's gonna do the same measurement on this piece of paper right here, and below the paper, nothing's affecting it because I don't have the piece in here, so there's nothing below the paper. It's just suspended on itself, like I said, with the tape that I have, making it nice and taut there, so it can be analyzed. And as I showed previously, 0.004 micrometers, which is what I have written down here. For this piece of paper. Now, that's two things to me. First of all, I get repeatable results with this device, like accurate, repeatable results to three significant figures here. So, you know what I mean? I'm really happy with this machine. The data it gives me, it's reliable, it's repeatable. I don't need special conditions for it. It just does it, right? So that's the value of this right here. Now I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. What device should I test? I haven't tested the roughness of any device compared to this paper that I have right here. What device should I test? I'm going to test one, and then we'll be done with this segment. The 10.3, the Manta, or the Note Air 4C. Which one should I test first? You guys let me know. Let me know in the chat. Oh, how's it going, Lau? Let's get the air horns going for Lau. Note Air 4C, the Go 10.3, or the Manta. Which surface should I test? Because I don't know what any of the values of any of these devices are yet. I've been just trying to nail down consistent numbers, finding out how I'm gonna test this paper, and I finally figured that out. You know what I was gonna do on here. So that's where I've been on that. Air horn time for Lau. All right, so what do we got? What do we think, you guys? Dr. Ling says the Manta. Oh man, I wish I could put a poll up that everyone could, because everyone here isn't in the Note Air. Says Lau. I'm down to test either one of them. I mean, you guys know I really want to test the Go 10.3 though. I mean, let's be clear. That's the one I really want to test. But whichever one you guys want to go with, I'll test it. No, they use diamond because diamond is harder than all of that. So the diamond will hold up. It'll test the plastic. Jack says the Manta. So we got the 10.3 right here. We got the Manta. Where is it at? Let's grab the Manta. And we got the Note Air 4C here. So we got 2 votes for the Manta. So I'm going to do the Manta. All right, here we go. We got the Manta here. We're going to sit it down on the surface, nice and flat. Okay. We got our last reading on here, which was the paper. Let's go ahead and start this puppy up. I'm super interested to know what this is compared to what this reading for paper was. Now, I did we'll do some research with Google here in a second. Oh, good point. This diamond might scratch the screen. I didn't think about that. You're right. I should test the bezel. Oh boy. Oh, that's on me. That's on me. I should totally be testing the bezel. All right, so what do we have here? We got a surface roughness of 0.821 micrometers. Now, that could mean a few things. The range might be too wide as far as the peaks and valleys, what it's testing. Even though the parameters are the same, right? It should have a different reading. You know what? Screw this. We're gonna test it. Let's write this down. We're gonna write this down. We're gonna do all of them because it doesn't take that long. We're gonna do all of them because it doesn't take that long. And we'll write it down. Manta is 0.821 micrometers. All right, let's do the 10.3. And now let's do the Node Air 4C. Jay says, if I want to fall in love with my Tab Mini C again, put a Feel Right 2 protector on it. I might have to. I like how Feel Right 2 feels. All right. This is the surface of the, and I'm putting it on the bezel this time. This is the surface of the Note Air 4C. Move this out of the way here. Now I gotta put another piece of paper on there. This is the Note Air 4C here, and I got it on the bezel this time, so we're not ruining things. Okay. Let's go ahead and see what we have here for the Note Air 4C. I'm trying to see if I feel a scratch on my Manta. I don't see a scratch, but I thought I felt something. No, I don't feel anything. It's good to go. I mean, it's spring loaded, so it sits really softly on the surface. So we got 0.617 for the Note Air 4C. A bit smoother. A bit smoother. A bit smoother than the Manta. Let's go ahead and try the 10.3. Okay, we're gonna do the bezel again. Oh yeah, the Feel Right is self-healing, so it probably wouldn't have scratched anyway. That's right. Good call. Even a diamond wouldn't scratch that. That bezel was pretty small on that, so I'm not going to be able to get a reading. I'm going to try to get a reading from this part of the bezel right here. It's all the same material, but I'll be able to get a better reading from right here. I think that bezel idea was gold. So whoever suggested that, thank you again. I appreciate that. That's why we all have to be talking. All right, here we go. All right, and this is the Go 10.3. Even smoother. Smoother still. Slightly. I'm going to just test that one more time to see the repeatability of that test. So we got 6.617 for the Note Air 4C and 0.598 for the 10.3. Okay, we're in a reasonable that's a reasonable margin of error right there. So second reading we got 597. Let's do a third reading, see what we get. So 0.593. So we can reliably say it's 0.59 something. Still higher, one more time. Still higher or lower than the 0.617 we got from the Note Air 4C. We got to do that again. We definitely got to do that again. Oh, good point. Different area for different trials though. Oh, yeah. Super interesting. Super interesting. Hmm. Okay, so it looks like what we would have to do. So the calibration clip is super uniform. I mean, it's made to be super uniform. These surfaces are not super uniform. So this is super interesting to get these different readings here. Okay, so now we're back to the 0.585. So super interesting to get these readings. Super interesting to get these readings. Let's take one more. We got consistently in the 0.59 range early on, and then it started giving us readings in the 0.6 range. Yeah, those were definitely outliers. I mean, you got to take multiple readings and do an average. Yeah, there we go. Now we're back to the 5.9 range. So there's a lot of different things that can go into factoring the number. You definitely want to take an average, though. I mean, that's something in science. You never take the one reading. You always take multiple. It's a good idea to go to multiple areas on the screen too. So I appreciate who gave me that pointer. That was the Rock. So I appreciate the Rock for that. So yeah, so we got 0.59 reliably in multiple different sections here, multiple different times. So I'm inclined to believe that the 0.59 range is where we're going to be for the 10.3. But just for multiple testing sake, let's bring the Note Air 4C back in, and let's test that out in a couple different spots to see if we get within that range or the range we were in for that, which was 0.617 for the Note Air 4C, 0.617. So let's see what we get here. Yeah, median, mean, standard. Yeah, absolutely. Standard deviation. I can't test the forehead. I can't test the forehead at all. All right, let's try another spot here. I can't test the forehead. But you know what though? Lil Uzi Vert has a diamond in his forehead, and that's the first thing I thought of when you said test your forehead with a diamond. He has a diamond in his forehead. It might be a ruby or opal right now. So testing is going to have to be done. Averages are going to have to be calculated. But as long as we get reliable calibrations, I got a Tab Mini C. We can test that. We're going to do one more test on the Note Air 4C. .626. Okay. I'm not sure what we're learning here if there's so much variation between several spots on the same device and so little variation between devices that feel very different to write on. Well, the thing here is, well, firstly, there's lots of things going on with the screen. So I have not cleaned the screens. This is just me doing a test. So you have to clean the screens. Oils, debris, dust. Like you can see, I got debris all over my thing. So I haven't cleaned this. So this needs to be cleaned. All the screens need to be cleaned of all debris. They need to start off with that kind of prerequisite or first, I guess. So there's lots of things I'm not doing here that I'm going to do when I do an actual reading. And I will present as many, I'll do like 10 and then take the average of those 10 tests. So what we're learning here is simply, is this device accurate? And it is accurate because we use the testing plate on here to find out, can it reproduce the 1.56 that the plate is definitely at? And it did. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're just having fun with just running this thing over other surfaces because we know that it gives an accurate reading. Now, that test plate is sterile, clean, never had oils on it, never been written on. So that's going to affect these readings. But when I go and clean it and make sure there's nothing on here, then if those readings there give me wildly different measurements, then I'll be concerned. But I'm not concerned because I know that this machine gives me accurate readings because I've tested it. And it's on this piece of paper here that's got nothing on it. It gives me repeatable data all the time to 3 significant figures. So just to show you guys again, it's only different because the surface that I'm working with is not as clean as it should be. Like it's oils, debris, all kinds of stuff. But on the paper, we're going to get I reliably get that. I tested it like 15 times the other day before I wrote down 0.004 on there. It's reliably 0.004 on the paper, and it's reliably 1.56 on the actual block, right? So we get 0.004 no matter how many times we test it on this paper. Because it's sterile, it's clean. There's been no dirt or fingerprints on it or anything like that. So forgive me if I'm not doing this impromptu live in a sterile way. But believe me, you guys, when it's done like it should be done, the readings will be accurate. As you can see here, I'm getting 0.004 at the same spot reliably. So that kind of just is what it is. Opacity doesn't affect it. This is just a physical reading. So when I clean these, we'll get a more accurate reading. I was just, like I said, doing a test live here just to kind of do it because I thought it was fun. But there is some cleaning needs to be done. Oils need to be removed, debris, dust, and all that needs to be removed off these screens. I thought it would be fun, but clearly it's not going to tell us anything unless I clean these screens. So I'm going to go about doing that and then take some readings and then we'll be. But let me go ahead and test the Note Air the Tab Mini C real quick. That's the only one I didn't test. All these, the Manta was high, 8.21. Let's go ahead. Matter of fact, let's do one more reading on the Manta. Oh boy. So let's go ahead and do one more reading on the Manta to see if it remains at the 0.8 range. Like I said, I need to clean these. So these are not clean. So any reading I'm getting here is not going to be terribly accurate, but it's just fun. It's just fun. We'll get the accuracy when I go and do my in-lab testing. So we got 0.971 right there. So, I mean, regardless of what this number is ultimately going to end up being, it's definitely a lot higher than what the Note Air 4C and the 10.3 is. It's definitely a lot higher. Yeah, definitely a lot higher. So like I said, these readings aren't terribly accurate right now because of I got to clean these surfaces, and we'll get to that. But just as something to do on live, I thought it was just fun. I thought it was just fun. So I will do a video on this particular device, talking about it in a more general way, less nerdy-ish, I guess. And in that video, I'll talk about data. And at that point, I will probably have the data up on my site for people to look at. And we can talk about it and have conversations that way if we want to do that. But I think this is super important to have to get this kind of data. Don't mean much right now because of the situation. This is a live, not very sterile, but we're going to get a sterile environment, clean up the devices, and take some very accurate, multiple accurate readings and see where we stand after that. All right, so let me go ahead and take this thing out and put it back in its case there. Oh, I forgot about the Tab Mini C. My bad. Let me show the Tab Mini C. I got to do that. I actually want to see that myself. So, all right. Let's put the Tab Mini C over here. Because it's the smoothest surface that I've ever written on as far as eInk tablets and how they go. All right. Yeah. I hope this diamond doesn't scratch the screen. You know what? Maybe I should put it on the border. I will. You know what? Let me just slightly clean this off because this is disgusting. I rarely ever use my Tab Mini C, and it is just disgusting. I can see stuff on it. Yeah, I definitely got to clean these screens off. Definitely got to clean these screens off. All right, here we go. All right, this is a Tab Mini C. We're just doing a preliminary test on it. My bad, Mr. Mike. Yeesh. That's super smooth. Let's do one more. I cleaned that area off, so it might give us reproducible readings here because I actually did just clean that off. It was disgusting, and I'm thinking like, dang, all my devices are nasty. I don't clean these things really, so for these measurements I gotta clean it. 0.181, so it's consistent. It's being somewhat consistent. 0.181. Let's do 3. I can't adjust the speed of the rehead. I can adjust the speed of the rehead to make it go slower. I can make it take less or more readings. I can make it sample that area it's going against. 0.175. Okay. So it's definitely in that 1.18, 0.17 range. I think we got 0.171 the first time. 0.181 and then 1.175. Once I clean these and get them like debris clear and the clear of any oils and whatever, the readings will be a lot better. And I'm going to start doing that even for just rudimentary tests because I don't want the diamond to get mucky either. So I'm going to make sure I clean these things, like get all the grime and oils and stuff off of them because I don't want that to start to affect all the readings. So preliminary stuff, but we're doing it. All right, you happy, Mr. Mike? So I can adjust the speed. Like I said, I can adjust the speed. I can adjust the sample rate. We'll talk more about that when I learn how to do those things and what they actually do for the readings. I have a good grasp of it right now, but using it gives you that ultimate confidence that you know exactly what it's doing. So I have to just use all of those settings, and I haven't used all of those settings yet. Yeah, I usually use Dawn on most things because Dawn's super. They use Dawn to clean ducks off, but it cleans stuff really good. So yeah, I'm gonna use like some Dawn on a light solution of water and Dawn, and then clean the screens off. Yeah, this is very cool stuff. This is gonna tell us a few things. It'll be able to tell us a few things. Let me go ahead and take this off and get it put away so I don't damage it in any kind of way. It could play a record. They even call it a I don't know what those needles and records are called, but they call this diamond tip that thing. I'm not sure what that is though. I forgot the name of it. But that's the thing. That's certainly a thing. That went way longer. We may have to talk about the rest of these topics tomorrow, you guys. That went way longer than what I thought. I'm gonna put this thing away here. And we'll put the book away. But yeah, that went a lot longer than what I thought. But I did want to do that on live. Just before I did the video on it to show what it is and is not capable of doing. And just to, like I said, run a couple. I was gonna do just one test, but we ended up doing like 3 to 4 devices here. And for what reason? We don't know. There was no real reason to go that route. But I'm gonna have the rest of the stories up on, or the rest of the stories that I was gonna go over up on tomorrow's live. Tomorrow's live, I also would have used this device a few times and could give you some more readings that I got to see if they panned out to be like reliable and how many times I was able to repeat it. So all of that I'll talk about. Error or percent error. Record stylus. Yeah, they call that part of stylus. Good call, Rock. I appreciate that. I would say no. The Note Air 4C is not trash. We're gonna get into that tomorrow. We're gonna talk about whether the Note Air 4C is trash or not. I want to talk about the outline feature too in the new firmware. Like, we got book stuff to talk about tomorrow. So bring your books. We're getting into it. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm working hard on a few videos at the same time, which is not good. Never good. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till whenever. 10:30 been recently, but I'm trying to get the 10 a.m. thing started. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I hope you're here tomorrow. And until next time, you guys, take care. Have a great day and a good start to your week. Peace.
you.